Hello, rodeo fans. Welcome back to the Short Round Podcast, the official podcast of the Canadian Professional Rodeo Association. I'm your host, Wacey Anderson, and I am very pleased to be joined by the one and only, the newly appointed CEO of the Canadian Professional Rodeo Association, Denny Phipps. Denny, thanks for joining me, man. Congratulations on the new title switch.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Wace. I same job, different title.
Yeah, same, same. Um, so the 2025 AGM just recently wrapped up for everybody, and it kind of is a big moment in the year for us to kind of wrap up 2024, look ahead to 2025. But I wanted to bring you on here to kind of discuss what you guys talked about in the AGM for those who maybe didn't get a chance to make it out, and yeah, go over 2024. So let's get into it. I'm just looking at your slideshow here. You have an amazing amount of stats that kind of will be mind blowing for some folks who haven't seen or heard these yet. So I'll let you take it away from here.
Well, yeah, no. So it's those of you that might not know, I was a math teacher in a different life, so I love stats. But also, I think they give you a guide on where you've been and where you're going. And building the state of the CPRA, it was a big, long process. But with statistics like we had this year in 2020 for 2024, it was actually a fun. It was a long process, but it was a fun process. The one of my probably my favorite stat contestant wise is in 2024 we had a contestant payout of $7.5 million
Wow.
across all of our events. Um, and including the CFR. To put it in perspective, 2020 it was up 9.8% from 2023. So 2023 we were a little over 6.8 million. The goal that I'd set for ours was to be just shy of 7 million. So
Mhm.
through the entries that the high entry numbers, but also the what the committees brought to the plate, they do a fantastic job. We blew that number out of the water, and our highest pre-COVID number was about 5.85 million. So we're tracking quite a bit ahead of that. So it's really fun to see to be able to be a part of putting that much money into contestants' pockets. We all know costs are getting higher to go down the road, and it's nice to see those numbers rising as well. But yeah, that's really, really exciting to see. 7.5 million is nothing to sneeze at.
No.
And it's awesome to be a part of seeing that money go to those contestants. So that was really on the contestant side of things, the one that I was the most excited about. Obviously, the more money that these contestants can put in their pocket, the more money the communities are able to bring. Um, it's just amazing. Those committees work so darn hard. The contestants work so darn hard, and to see that rise is just really fantastic. In 2020, kind of coupled with that, in 2024, we had 60 events between rodeos and special events, which I believe the last time we were at 60 events was in the mid 2000s.
Wow,
So,
really?
so it's been a long time. We've got a couple new events coming on board this year. Dawson Creek, we've lost Dawson Creek Spring Rodeo. They're just focusing on their summer rodeo. But we've got a few new events coming on, which has been exciting to see. And I think we're at 62 events for 2025. So
Mhm.
seeing that number grow, giving those opportunities to contestants is awesome. Entries, we're a little over 19,300 in 2024, which was up 5% from the previous year. It's the highest number we can find in our records. So contestants are coming, they're going to these rodeos, they're coming to these communities, they're having the economic impact, they're putting on a great show for the crowd. Um, and kind of on the flip side of that coin of we're getting strong entries, the rodeos are putting up lots of money, having big payouts. But through that, between all of our events in the CFR, we had an attendance at CPRA events of over 400,000
Which is
people in
crazy.
2024. So the product that the stock contractors, committees, contestants are putting in front of the fans, obviously the fans are enjoying it because those numbers keep climbing, and that's just an amazing number to see. How many people are taking in pro rodeo in Canada and being a part of what we do. I
Mhm.
believe we're the best entertainment you can find. There's something for everybody there, and those attendance numbers really reflect that. And it's really, really fun to see because I think we've got the best, some of, if not the best, professional athletes that there are. They're the most approachable, um, just because of our sport is so much different than, they're not paid to play. They do it all themselves,
Mhm.
and they're just part of the community. So it's really, really great to see those people coming to watch and being entertained by those fans. So yeah, it's those are kind of the some of the numbers directly tied to the rodeos themselves. That 7.5 million was the one that blew me away.
No doubt.
Our membership numbers were the highest they've been since the mid 2000s. Again, there's a lot of contestants coming in. So I know we've got events like bareback riding where we're struggling for numbers. There's no question about it. But we're seeing obviously there's the influx of breakaway ropers, which certainly helps.
Hmm.
But just bronc riders numbers continue to rise. Um, ropers continue to rise. Bulldogging numbers were up last year slightly, which had been a few years since we'd seen that. So we're seeing those contestants come and compete. Barrel racing numbers has grown exponentially,
Hmm.
um, which is fantastic opportunity for those barrel racers. So seeing those things is really, really great to see. But I'd like to kind of flip the switch as well. And um, the CPRA, obviously, we're a member run organization, and having those almost 1,400 members is fantastic. And 2025 is tracking on the numbers as last year. But those committees, they're the ones that are putting on the rodeos. They're working with the contractors, they're working with the contestants, they're working in their communities to find sponsors, find the fans. And those 400,000 in attendance, those were in those communities. Um, but those committees, through an exit survey I did, I learned that those committees gave back over $2.1 million to their communities. So they really are, they're doing it for the right reasons. They're not just entertaining and putting something on in their weekend in their city, but they're also giving back to the, whether it's 4-H or Boys and Girls Clubs or whatever it is. 2.1 million is a major boon to these communities that we're in. It's just amazing to see.
When you couple that with the economic impact number you have here, so over like just shy of 110 million of economic impact around CPRA events, which is massive. You think of some of these smaller communities like a Pollockville or Sundre, Okotoks, even Nanton. There were a new event, Fort McLeod. These newer events, like that's their marquee event of the year, and to be able to not only give back to the community but also bring in that type of impact to the community, it's such a huge thing, especially as we're still maybe still some lingering COVID effects, but I think we're on
Yep.
the next step from that. But just now, and we're seeing it with these numbers in front of us right now.
It's amazing the economic impact. It blew me away,
Hmm.
truthfully. I was estimating probably between 80 and 90 million,
Hmm.
was the estimate that I'd always used. But yeah, when you think about it, we've got with 400,000 attendees, these attendees are coming to these rodeos. There's the contestants as well, the contractors. They're buying fuel, they're getting hotel rooms,
Hmm.
they're eating at the restaurants, and these are really lifeblood events in the community. You think about every community that has a CPRA rodeo, or whether it's a ball tournament or a
Hmm.
hockey tournament or whatever it is, those people that are coming into the city to watch, whether it's families, whether it's friends, whether it's just people looking to be entertained, they're spending money, they're buying gas, they're buying hotel rooms, food, etc. And that economic impact was just amazing to me to hear and see
Yeah.
that the what CPRA events and what those committees are bringing into those communities. It's the CFR was 32, 33 million of that. So there was over 70 million in those other 59 communities.
Which is crazy. Like you'd think that CFR would probably make over half or three quarter or two-thirds of it, but it's really the smaller portion of it all is coming from
Yeah.
our smaller communities and smaller events, which is even more mind blowing when you think about it.
Yeah, so those I really want to shine the light on those communities that
Hmm.
and those committees that work so hard. They're mostly volunteers, but they're putting back into their community also directly, but they're also just what they're putting on for the community. The contestants are coming, they're competing for great money, and that's I'm excited to see because the attendance is high, the
Hmm.
economic impact is high, so it's good to see the added money continue to rise and that I think is where that $7.5 million payout comes in. I think it's really cyclical, and the contestants and the contractors are putting on a damn good product,
Hmm.
and the committees and the communities are putting on the event, and it goes round and round, and I think it's great for everybody.
Yeah, it's an awesome place to see where rodeo is, and then looking forward, it's just only going to get better. And before we move on, Denny, I want to
Knock
touch
wood.
on. Oh. Before we move on, I want to touch on CFR 50. Obviously, you mentioned over 32 million of economic impact on the city of Edmonton. Just reading what you have wrote down here, 55% of attendees were from outside Edmonton, which is, I'm really surprised by that number, just given the scale of the size of Edmonton. And then the final attendance, over 42,000 people in the seats, which again is a great way to kick off being back in Edmonton and kind of that renewing that partnership with the city and as we move forward with the CFR.
It was really, and I think we've talked about this before, Wacey,
Hmm.
but my goal for when we made the move to come to Edmonton for the CFR, for year one, I was hoping we'd be between 37 and 42,000
Hmm.
attendees. So I was be right on that upper end. I was really happy to see that. Obviously, I've increased my target for this year, and I'm going to keep that one under my hat. But I'm hoping to see us grow past 50,000 attendees kind of in the next year or two. I really think that we're starting to get a foothold. Rome wasn't built in a day, and yes, we had
Hmm.
44 CFRs in Edmonton previously, and there was a missing spot. I've talked to a lot of people in the Edmonton community who really missed the CFR, and I talked to a lot of fans who, especially from northern Alberta, and Edmonton itself, that returned to the CFR.
Hmm.
But I think there's also a lot of people waiting to see what year one was like. I think in the city of Edmonton itself, you've got to build that momentum. And I'm really excited. I think Explore Edmonton's got a great team across the board, but especially their marketing department. Um, Tickets are already on sale for CFR. They've been going well, so it's great to see that. And yeah, I think we can continue to grow. I just remember Friday and Saturday night we opened the upper deck last year at
Hmm.
Rogers Place, and Saturday night I just remember standing there, looking up from from the chutes and seeing, I think it was 13, a little over 13,000 people in that building. And we had a lot of people that said, yeah, it'll be successful, but it's going to look really empty with nobody in that upper deck. And to look up and see that many people in the upper deck, I'm like, no, this is really, really cool. And it kind of gave you goosebumps. And to
Hmm.
see where we can grow to, I think Saturday night was just a snippet of what the next few years can look like. So I'm excited for that. I think the obviously we had great weather. We had a benefit of great weather, but also on the flip side of that, we were on a short runway. So I'm really excited to see what CFR can look like with a full runway. But yeah, CFR 50, we had 42,000 people. We had over half the attendees came from outside the city. I think there was
So
over
cool.
12,000 hotel room nights
Hmm.
in the city of Edmonton for the CFR. Like those are major numbers. Like we are a major event. CFR 50 actually was nominated for two tourism awards. We were nominated for Sports Tourism Canada Event of the Year, budget between 1 million and 10 million.
Hmm.
We didn't win. Special Olympics Winter Games won, which I think you can't find a better
It's well deserving.
cause than that.
Hmm.
Um, I'm quite proud to even be considered in the same category as them. And then we're nominated for an Edmonton Tourism Award as well. So to be recognized as an event of that magnitude, not just locally in Edmonton, but Canada-wide, I think just speaks to the work Explore Edmonton did, but also just the event that the CFR is and what it can bring to the community, what
Hmm.
it can bring, the quality of contestants, the quality of stock, and even more so just the quality of people involved in that
Hmm.
event. I think that everybody in rodeo wears their heart on their sleeve and they do it for the right reasons. And whether it was um, someone like Cal Jarvis who um,
He
we
camped out
said,
back all week, like just running
camped out
security
back
for
all
us.
week,
Yeah.
ran security, made sure that the horses were safe and secure, and made
Hmm.
sure that there's someone who knew horses if something did happen in the middle of the night. Um, to hell, he was part of the steel. He was part of every crew that I
Every
think we
crew,
ever
yeah.
watched. Well,
Well, and
um,
even the steel crew, the work they put in to get it
so
ready for Perf One, we had what 48 hours or less than 48 hours to turn around after another game,
it,
and
it,
even the work after the first Perf they did to get it like dialed in and ready to go. Like it was just amazing what happened there.
OCD Earthworks doing the dirt, Tanner and the crew he put together for the steel, like um, Amanda, Arlindo, Tracy, everybody at Explore Edmonton, just like we had, I think, 38 hours or something like
Hmm.
that between getting the arena and bucking horses. So Everyone, like, it came together really fast and we kept adjusting, but now we've got a year under our belt and we've got a year of planning. But yeah, CFR 50, not only was it an amazing event, it was an event that I don't think very many people understand the logistics that went into it.
Hmm.
And I'm glad they were able to show up. And I like to say with an event is if the fans in the stands think it goes well, then it went well, and everything behind the scenes, that's our
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, 100%. Well,
And not that there was problems, but there was a
no,
lot
no.
of logistics that had to be worked through.
There's a
Um,
lot of moving parts behind the scenes that people don't realize to make it look like it's going seamless. It's kind of like
exactly.
it's like a stay-at-home defenseman. You don't notice what they're doing, but they're doing a lot of work.
That's a great way to say it, Wacey.
One thing I wanted to kind of give it, or one group I wanted to give a tip of the cap to as well is our partnership with the Cowboy Channel. I think that's really helped put the
Yeah.
CFR on the map as a marquee event. I know I have a lot of friends in the U.S. and same for you, Denny. Even being in Vegas, like a lot of people saying like how surprised they were at the level of competition, the level of production, and just how an amazing an event the CFR was. So I think that's kind of a testament to the hard work and everything that's went into it, and kind of stating to that sentiment that sky's kind of the limit. I feel like when it comes to CFR in Edmonton, and as we move forward with this.
It is. I think so. And I think the Cowboy Channel, they've been a fantastic partner. It's been fun to get to work with them over the last few years.
Mhm.
And they've had a lot of moving parts on their end as well. And a lot of credit goes to Patrick Gotch. And we lost him too soon, but he put a lot of heart and soul into the Cowboy Channel to get it
Mhm.
off the ground. And Teton Ridge is now there. And I think that's going to continue to grow and build. But yeah, they've been fantastic partners. They've opened up doors to the US market. We had over 260,000 people watch the CFR live
Wow.
or on direct replay last year. And that doesn't count what was in Canada. That's strictly US numbers. That doesn't count streaming numbers. We've got a great crew. Carly Peterson, feature production. Robert Schmidt joined the team this
Mhm.
year. Katie Lucas, she was she was pregnant at the time, but she put in a lot of work and she
Yeah.
fought through. And just so much credit to that team and what they do. Dustin Edwards really, as the show caller, really was able to pull everything together as well and hold the strings. And so hats off to him. And he's returning again for 2025. But yeah, so this Cowboy Channel was a great broadcast. It's great to get out into those markets
Mhm.
and grow. But I really do think it's opening eyes to the little, to not to the little, but to the hidden gem we have in Canada and the rodeo it is, the stock we have, the building we're in, and just the atmosphere we build. And I think we get a lot of kudos on that, and I think we do a great job, and that team does a great job because I certainly am not on that broadcast, nor do I. Please keep a mic out of my face as much as
Yeah.
possible. But last year, just beyond the CFR, we had 32 events that were live streamed of
Hmm.
our 60, right around 100 perfs. I didn't count out the exact perf numbers, but it was right around 100 perfs we
Hmm.
had broadcast, and some of them went live to full on Cowboy Channel in the States, but all of the tour rodeos went live to Cowboy Channel Canada. But then a lot of rodeos were just live streamed as well. And I think we had, I don't know the number directly. I think it was over 50,000 hours of
Wow.
CPRA rodeos were streamed last year.
Amazing.
And that doesn't count TV numbers. That is
No.
strictly streaming.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, yeah, it's again, it's shaping up to be to be bigger and better as we move forward here, and I guess moving on, I'm gonna throw something off the board at you, Denny. So prior to the AGM meeting, Terry Cook stepped down from his position.
Yes.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, but I want to hear through from you what his impact on the association, what he's meant to the CPRA over the years, and how much we're gonna miss him as we move on here.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up. I was actually going to close with Terry, but Terry, I'm going to start with myself personally. I'm incredibly sad to see Terry no longer as a judge and as a president on a personal level. I think Travis Whiteside's going to come in and do a fantastic
Hmm.
job. I'm so excited to work with Travis.
Hmm.
I think he's got great ideas. I think he's going to be a fantastic leader for the organization. So um, I'm really excited about that. I don't know that there were many in the association that could have followed Terry the way Travis will be able to.
Hmm.
But on a personal level, I'm really sad that I'm not working with Terry. He was a fantastic friend. We didn't agree on everything, but um, and we'd have those conversations. But we respected each other. I consider him a great friend. His wife Camille is amazing. They're both wonderful people too, both of my children and my wife, and we're really lucky to have them in our lives. But Terry's got a bigger fight. He's, as I said, he's fighting cancer and he's got to focus on his health right now. But as far as the organization and the CPRA goes, Terry took over president in 2017. We were at I joined the board in mid 2016. We were really at a low ebb at that point in time,
Mhm.
or coming off a low ebb anyways. And we were financially, we weren't in a great spot. And Jeff Robson, Kyle Rock came in and helped, but the board of directors and Terry led that. And he was the president for 8 years and seen us go from some really rocky times to 7 million in payout and record numbers on membership and entries. So he really was there through a low ebb right to a very high ebb. And you always knew where you stood with Terry. He was not necessarily the most polished speaker at times, but he was 100% from the heart, and he still is. I was messaging with, I had a great conversation with him a couple days ago, and he's doing good. He's still just a phone call away, and um, I don't know that there's anyone who has loved the CPRA as much as him.
Mhm.
And he had never had an agenda. He did things for what he believed was right. Um, and yeah, so Terry Cook was, in my opinion, he did a lot for the CPRA, and he
Mhm.
did it not expecting anything in return. He was doing it just because he felt that he needed to give back.
Mhm.
And there's very few things that I can respect more than that. So yeah, I'm gonna miss Terry. He's just a phone call away, and I'm excited about Travis coming in. So hats off to Terry Cook and everything that he's done for the association. Judged. I think he was a judge in the CPRA for almost 40 years and did, I think, 16 CFRs. And
Wow.
the last rodeo he judged, because he retired, was CFR 50. So it was a nice swan song for him.
No doubt. That's great. And yeah, like you said, he'll be missed around. But the beauty thing about rodeo is, again, like you say, everybody's a phone call away, and you always find a way to stick around a little bit, no matter how how far you go. Um,
Exactly.
But so moving on to other news, Denny, we recently announced a partnership with Equinety Products, Horse Products, or I don't know the
Yeah.
official name they like to go by, but talk for through your lens quickly. What does that partnership mean for the CPRA for us, and how excited are you to have them on board for 2025?
I'm really excited about Equinety. So that actually started. The funny part about that is John from Equinety, the president. I met him at when I went down to meet Patrick Gotch when we first moved over to the Cowboy Channel. John was down there for meetings as well, and as you probably have seen, Equinety has lots of ads on the Cowboy Channel, and him and I just kind of started talking, and then over a couple of years, kind of just back and forth. And last year at the NFR, we went for breakfast, and we had a conversation. And I said, "Hey, like, we don't have a title sponsor, title partner for our timed event awards of the year, horses of the year," and that really piqued his interest because Equinety really is about horse health and horse performance. And I think the opportunity to increase the visibility and increase the profile of those amazing horses is something that I'm most excited. Working with John's a fantastic, Weston is fantastic as well, and working with great people and great product, I think is really exciting. But um, anything we can do to celebrate those horses is probably the number one thing that I was looking for, is how can we partner with the right company to um, elevate these horses. You can
Mhm.
find sponsors for these, and we've got the Clayton and Steph Moore. They founded the Hazing Horse of the Year award, and um, so we still are going to have and then the Lay family on the horse with the most heart.
Mhm.
So we're still going to have them involved, but this is more so the title partner, and I think it's just raising the profile of these horses. We've got Peso, and we've got Tyson and Eddie and Teacher, and we've got all these fantastic horses. And how can we raise their profile and
Mhm.
do a better job in honoring them? Because our athletes, as I said earlier, are amongst the best in the world, but without those four-legged athletes, we've got absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Our sport is based on four-legged athletes that love doing what they do. And so any chance we get to celebrate them, I think is one we need to take.
100%. It's going to be exciting. It's cool to have them on board. And
Yeah.
in case you missed it, I had an interview with John on our last podcast episode, and he's quite the guy and has a cool story. So if you get some time, go back and listen to that one.
Yeah.
Okay, 2025, Danny. It's we kind of alluded to it. We've been touching on things as we move forward here, but it's going to be shaping up to be an exciting year. We got increased payouts, more events, more breakaway roping, kind of pretty
Yeah.
much everything you want in a new season. But I kind of want to get your take, what you're looking forward to the most in 2025, and maybe some things to watch for as we move into the season.
Well, I think that we got a lot of really exciting things. Obviously, we're working towards CFR 51, which we can talk about a little bit more in a minute, but
Mhm.
um, everything kind of funnels there. But we've got some great new events. We've got a Rimby bull riding happening in August. I think that's got $25,000 added. We've got a new bronc riding in Cold Lake, which I think has $20,000 added. Those are just off the top of my head.
Mhm.
Um, so we've got some great events coming in. But we've also got, I think, a lot of opportunity. I think the contestants, again, are at the highest level we've ever seen. But one of the things to celebrate that is Armstrong. Armstrong was the tour finale back in 2010, 2011, a full-on tournament style tour finale. And
Mhm.
then they've gone through a few different format changes. And in recent years, we've landed on a 3-day rodeo and a single day tour finale for the top 10. And it was a nightmare for the secretaries trying to confirm everybody and finalize people after Armstrong's rodeo. And I was given the direction by the board of directors to try and make our tour finale more impactful.
Mhm.
So I had conversations with Joe and Heather in Armstrong, and they were on board with making it a really impactful event and returning to a full tour finale format. So obviously, rather than having a rodeo and a tour finale, now we're going to have one big tour finale. Armstrong stepped up, bringing even more money to the plate on top of
Awesome.
what they've already got there. The CPRA is bringing some more to the plate. So we're actually moving to a full tour finale tournament style format. Top 20 contestants from the tour are going to Armstrong. 10 will go Wednesday. The top three will advance from the night. 10 will go Thursday. The top three will advance to Saturday night. But then also the top 2 point getters that haven't advanced, regardless of their pool, will move on from the tour, will move on to the finals as well. So if
Mhm.
you have a great season through the tour events and you're leading it and you buck off your bull or your missy calf, you still get to go to Saturday night. So the top two who haven't advanced, and then the remaining 12 contestants will go to the wild card on Friday night with one last chance for two people to advance to the 10-man finale on Saturday night. Obviously, we're going to pay the two pools are going to pay 2,000. We're going to pay the three people advanced,
Mhm.
2,000 for first, 1,200 for second, 800 for third. For Wednesday and Thursday. We're going to pay four people, even though only two advance, we're going to pay four people on the wild card, 1,600, 1,200, 800, 400. But then on the final Saturday night with the 10 people, it's going to be a true finale. One winner takes all, or
Nice.
not winner takes all, but winner takes first. And it's going to pay $7,500 for first, 37.50 for second, 22.50 for third, and 1,500 for fourth. So if you win your pool and win the finals in Armstrong, you're gonna win $9,500 just in Armstrong alone. So it's really making that event more impactful, especially at the end of the season.
Mhm.
It's making the tour events more impactful because you need to get into that top 20 to be here, but also the higher you can be in that, the more security you have if you don't have a good go on whatever pool you're in.
Mhm.
So yeah, we're really excited about going to that. Armstrong, they were really on board right from the get-go. They're like, how do we make this event more impactful?
Mhm.
And I'm like, well, as we're having these conversations, so Joe and Heather, hats off to them because I really think that this is going to be a great thing for the contestants. It's going to be great, make the tour more impactful, make the tour finale more impactful. Obviously, it does limit the entries in Armstrong a little bit compared to what we had in the past, but the trade-off, I think, is the opportunity for those contestants and the incentive for them to get to Medicine Hats and the Morrises and the Strathmores and the Dawson Creeks of the world, um,
Well,
and
it's,
go
it's
through that way.
amazing.
So that I'm really, really excited about
Yeah.
that and see how that plays out.
Oh, it's gonna have a huge impact. Like you say, you win your round and you win the finale, $9,500. That's if you're if you're the number 13 guy and you've had a great tour season. Obviously that probably wouldn't happen if you're the top, but you know what I mean? Like a guy
Yeah.
like Lonnie West last year, he can come in, win his round, win the tour finale. That's your punching your ticket to the CFR right there. So I mean, it's a huge
What?
impact. It's kind of a similar setup to the Rough Rider Cup that they brought to
Yep.
the PRCA last year in Mandan. I was lucky enough to be there and having the top 20 in your standings competing throughout the week. It makes the event more impactful even just for the fans because you got the best of the best there. It's just going to be it's going to be an awesome week and kind of really put that exclamation point, geez, on the season. And like you say, it's just going to make that final weekend even more impactful between Armstrong, Merritt, and Langley to wrap up the year.
Well, exactly. And Merritt still has $5,000 at an event, so it's not small potatoes. And Langley's got 15,000. They're rough stock and barrel racing, but they've got 15,000 an event. So though there's people that if you really rang the bell in over the weekend, you could win $15,000. Like
It's
you can go
amazing.
from outside the top 30 in some events, if you're lucky enough to sneak your way in. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. The other thing that I'm really excited about is, and shout out to Ponoka Stampede. They're increasing their money in their rough stock to $75,000,
Mhm.
60,000 in the timed events. They're bringing in breakaway roping, which is so exciting. They're bringing 60 girls in the breakaway roping. But we put in a rule that follows the PRCA rule last year. The PRCA has had it for a number of years, and it's if nobody rides in the bull riding, it's not paid out as day money. It carries forward to the following year's rodeo.
Mhm.
Last year, nobody rode in the Final Four in Ponoka. So not only have they increased the money to 75,000, they actually have an extra 15,000 for the 4 rounds. So in the bull riding, the 4 round in Ponoka will pay has over $30,000 added.
That's
Um, so so that and then you've got another 60,000 through the rodeo plus entry fees. So if someone like there's a possibility someone could win 40, $50,000 out of Ponoka in the bull riding alone. So hats off to them. That's a lot of money
yeah.
and
It's crazy to think about.
pretty darn impactful. So a few years ago, I can't remember what rodeo it was, but in the PRCA, they didn't have someone ride for, it wasn't a small rodeo. They didn't have someone ride for 3 or 4 years. And I think JB Mooney won $21,000 out of a single rodeo. And that, I don't know that there was ground money involved with
Mhm.
that because it had rolled forward for a few years. So, Ponoka having that money and it's sitting there, and I think 90,000 in the bull riding. I expect we're going to see a lot of wolves in the world
Mhm.
come up for a piece of that money.
Shaping up to be
So
awesome.
yeah, so so hats off to Ponoka, and they're always so innovative and creative. And I was really excited when they brought on the breakaway roping. We'd been
Mhm.
having those conversations for a couple years now, on their on and they've been trying to are we going to do it? How do we do it? And all of that sort of stuff. And
Mhm.
um, I was really excited to see that come to fruition. And then they upped their money, um, and then with this extra 15,000 that carries forward, it's going to be the start of July in
Oh,
Ponoka is going to be quite the thing.
that changes the cowboy Christmas landscape in Canada. And even I think the Sundry did a small increase on their prize money as well, right? So kind of kicking off the cowboy Christmas week, it's more and more money available for contestants.
It's so yeah, and not just in Canada, but like at Ponoka, I believe it's still the biggest Fourth of July rodeo, added money wise
Dang.
in the on both sides of the line. So
Wow.
um, so yeah, you're gonna. I'm excited to see what that 2 weeks of the season looks like.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome, and yeah, you're gonna see some big swings in the standings, and it's gonna be here before we know it, and we're super excited, and I can't wait
Yeah.
to catch up about after the fact, Denny, and see where people stand after that weekend. Before I let you go here, let's talk CFR 51. Obviously, coming off the heels of CFR 50. I think we can expect bigger and better things when it comes to CFR 51. Tickets are on sale, like we mentioned. It's going to be the party of the year, the event of the year, for lack of better words, and I can't wait. I know I can't wait for sure.
Well, yeah, no, I'm really excited, and I don't like to look too far into the future because that I don't want to miss out on how great this season is going
Hmm.
to be. But it's hard not to look forward to having 1 year under our belt in Edmonton. Obviously, CFR 50 was amazing and it was
Hmm.
such a great experience. But we were on a very tight timeline on trying to learn and figure in logistics and all of that, and be able to have 1 year under our belt and not having to start from scratch, and also being able to start in December and all of that sort of stuff. It's relieved a lot of that stress and have personnel in place and some personnel in place and stuff like that. And we've already been having dirt meetings and Tanner's been having steel meetings. So
Hmm.
it's been fantastic. And now it's just kind of adjusting. We have that baseline because until you get it in the first time, you still don't know. As you said earlier, like we had a Wednesday night rodeo, and then the steel people guys, they made a bunch of adjustments to make it so that it was easier to get animals in and out, barrel
Hmm.
horses in and out, and just trying to make that efficient. Well, they've got that year under their belt now and that experience. So that's fantastic. And there's been, with the success of CFR 50, which I've said in the past, a successful CFR, there are levers for the CPRA to see some benefits. Some of those were hit last year, which is exciting. So we are going to see small increase in contestant payout. We're going to see small increase in stock payout. So we do have some of those things, and um, I'm no one's going to be oh my gosh, it's paying $20,000 a round, because it's certainly not paying $20,000
Hmm.
a round. But there are small increases, which is exciting to see. But I think just everybody having a year under their belt. And people seeing what it's about, I think is going to make a really big difference. Last year was an amazing product. You're not going to see horses buck any harder than they did.
Hmm.
You're not going to, like, the time event horses were still in rodeo shape and in front of crowds. And I think that makes a huge difference. And obviously, as things grow, as things continue to increase, I hope to see the payouts continue to grow. But CFR 50, now we're working on the Expo Center. They're already working on how to build that and grow that. Jillian Grant and Aaron Ferguson and that group are Canadian Country Expo. They're growing that. So there's going to be stuff activations over there, and I think there's team ropings and futurities and junior rodeos going over there, which is really exciting to see. So there's going to be stuff for everybody. Looking to increase the visibility of the tailgate zone right in front of Rogers Place. And as the city gets more engaged, I think we're going to see more and more things falling into place throughout the city. And that's really exciting because it does. Rome wasn't built in a day, but um, what someone told me once upon a time, how do you eat an elephant? You do it one bite at a time. And so we just got to keep taking bites and continue to
Hmm.
build this event until we still got some growth to do. But I've got my fork and I'm going to keep taking my bites. And I know everybody else on the team, Tanner and Arlindo and Tracy and Amanda and hundreds of people I'm not mentioning. Um, we've all got our forks and we're just going to keep biting one bite
Hmm.
at a time.
Yeah, no, that's a really good way to put it, and I think like you say that 1 year of experience under our belts is such a huge piece of that puzzle, and it can only get bigger and better. I'm really excited. I'm excited for 2025. I'm excited for CFR. I'm excited for all of it to come down. I think we're on the cusp of things busting loose on the 2025 season, so it's gonna be awesome. And thanks for the time today, Danny. It's always good to check in. We'll check in probably. Like, I guess our next one will probably be after Cowboy Christmas at this point, but it's
Yeah,
good. And I appreciate the time. And
coming
again,
quick.
congrats on the title switch again. I know it doesn't change much with your actual role, but it's good nonetheless.
Well, thank you very much, Wacey, and thank you for all you do. You put in a lot of hard work that a lot of people don't get to see either. So thanks for all you do.
I appreciate it. Okay. All right, Danny, I'll let you go. And this has been episode 34 of the short round, and we'll be right back right after this. Welcome back to the Short Round Podcast. This week, I am pleased to welcome my special guest. He has made the CFR more times than I can count, been to the NFR, won rounds of the NFR, and swung his leg over some of the best horses in the game. Curtis Cassidy, thanks for taking the time, my friend. Good to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it's been
Glad to
good.
be here.
Yeah, it's been good. Like we are saying, it kind of seems like it's been a long off season up here, but we're knocking on the door of rodeo season, getting into full swing in Canada.
Yeah, I was going to say next, I guess not this weekend, but the weekend after it's going to be pretty much every weekend till fall. After that, I guess Mother's Day weekend is no rodeos, but we'll be at Milan's Jackpot, Hoover Hayes Memorial. So yeah, it's pretty much every weekend from now till fall. It'll be busy.
Yeah, nonstop. Well, before we get into that, I want to talk about kind of something that just happened this week. Actually, it was funny. I didn't even know about the announcement before I asked you to come on the show. Barb had called me like an hour later after I texted you. But anyways, Willy getting inducted to the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame. That's a huge deal for such an amazing horse. Like, what was your initial reaction when they called you?
Teared up pretty much.
Yeah.
No, I was kind of awestruck and honest because I had no idea that he was even in the running or anything, you know. And
hmm
this Laura Martin's her name from the Denver committee. I talked to her a few years back, and like probably I would say 5 or 6 years ago, we talked about this, and I
hmm
sent her all of Willie's information, and I was like, yeah, I mean, obviously I want him in the Hall of Fame and I want him nominated and everything else, but I was like, I didn't know where any of it would go. And so I sent her all of Willie's kind of information, what he's won, just this and that. And apparently didn't know this until today, but she's got a degree in history. So apparently I had the right person on it.
Perfect.
So
Yeah.
yeah, she did all the work and submitted his Hall of Fame stuff. I guess she's been doing it the past 3 or 4 years, and he was on the short list last year, and then this year they ended up putting him in the Hall of Fame. So yeah, worked out real good.
What does it mean to your family and kind of just a testament to your career? What does it mean to you guys to have him going in the hall amongst all those great names?
Oh, I mean, it means everything to me, and then to the horse, because I mean, I love competing and all that, but I swear some days I'm out there competing because I love the horses just as much, you
Yeah.
know, and to watch other guys compete and win on them, and it's a testament to the horse, you know, like it's not the horse is not just good for me, you know, he's good for everybody that throws a leg over him, and that means a lot to me, and yeah, then obviously Willie, just everything that he did and all of his accomplishments, they were huge, and it was just yeah, kind of the icing on the cake for the I guess kind of the end of the Willie story. I I believe I told somebody the other day that uh, Willie's kind of like the Secretariat of rodeo. He was the little racehorse that when he come off the track as a 2 year old, my grandpa bought him and stuff like that. And he was this little skinny thoroughbred looking horse, and nobody gave him a second look or ever thought he'd be honestly worth a shit for a steer wrestling horse at all because he's a skinny little thoroughbred. But he had great longevity and turned into a great horse in time, and it kind of little lesser version than Secretariat, but kind of the same story.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that for a second. You mentioned how he kind of come off the track and he doesn't really seem to fit the mold of a steer wrestling horse, but did it take him long to find that stride, or when did you realize you had such a great horse in your hands?
Oh, like I guess my aunt had him for a while, just like riding him, pasture riding him, doing all that stuff. And then my dad and Billy Smith started him one winter just because there was kind of no steer wrestling horses standing around. They needed something to practice on, and they just were kind of trying everything, I believe, is how it
Mhm.
went. But he got the call to be a steer wrestling horse because he wasn't a rope horse. He always hated ropes, so you couldn't kind of get near him with a rope. And yeah, so they started steer wrestling on him, and he never had no roping experience at all, which usually it helps the steer wrestling horse come around faster if they have some
Mhm.
roping experience. But yeah, no, they just kind of started him in the steer wrestling, and he honestly took to it like very well and fast. Like he wasn't perfect off the get go by no means, but damn sure like you could tell all the tools were there. It was just a matter of experience and runs and all the work that was involved to make him good. But he definitely had all the makings to be good.
That's awesome. I was pulling together like I made that video and that post for the page social pages yesterday. I was pulling together all of his accolades and the amount of money he won. I don't think there's got to be a small number of horses that can have that kind of resume when it comes to championships won and gold medals and world championships and horses of the year. Like it's got to be up there as one of the greats.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, I guess I'm sure there's more than one greatest of all time
For
like GOAT,
yeah.
but he's definitely in the running for argument's sake greatest of all time without a question. Like the money that was won on him, the different people that won on him, the Canadian championships, the world championships. But I was telling somebody, I think yesterday or something like that, but I was like, he wasn't only good at like Las Vegas or the CFR, like we won Pinoca on him, like we won Cheyenne on him. And I remember coming back to Pendleton and to the short go on before, and just, yeah, like it didn't matter where you rode him. He was just a good horse everywhere.
So obviously this is like a time to reflect and thinking about Willy and all this stuff. So is there a run or a moment that stands out in your memory of a yeah, great run you made on him, or a perfect run even, you could say?
Well, I would say one of the greatest runs that stands out in my mind, that probably as far as being a steer wrestler wasn't the greatest run to myself because the steer wasn't that hard to throw down, but setting the arena record at the Calgary Stampede, that was something that's, well, it still stands this date, but I mean, it's special to me, and because I was 3 flat at the Calgary Stampede, so
Yeah.
anytime they talk about arena record, that gets brought up, and obviously Calgary is one of the biggest rodeos out there, so that, and like I said, to me as a steer wrestler, that wasn't my greatest run ever, but probably some of my greatest runs are on steers I didn't win money on, but like, but that was definitely one that stands out in my head for sure, because it was, I mean, it was yeah, it was pretty damn cool that
Mhm.
day.
So so how old was Willy when you guys retired him?
I believe he was 24 the last time we rode him at the NFR in 2010. So
Dang.
that's pretty crazy. And then uh, I think I won the last 2 go-rounds on him at the NFR that year too, and then got a
Jeez.
standing ovation on him.
That's crazy. Was it hard to make that decision? Like obviously, again, you've had so much success on him, and he obviously loved what he did. But was it a tough decision to hang it up, or was it time for him to kind of go
No, I
off to the
mean
pasture?
he was he was great, but it was, yeah, it was just, he just had like some not big soundness issues, just some light soundness issues, and just, yeah, there was no, after that NFR and everything, there like Cody and I rode him at that NFR in 2010, and after that there was no sense.
Hmm.
I mean, we did ride him at some rodeos the next year up here in Canada, but he was, yeah, after that it was kind of a almost a Cinderella story at the end of his career. Like
Yeah.
it was, we could have kept using him, but we had other young horses coming up and whatnot, and not to say that any of them were even close to as good as him, but they were, yeah, we had other horses to ride, and he was been there, done that, and he at that point, to being 24 years old, he definitely didn't need no more runs or anything.
Yeah, I definitely have to prove at that point. So moving on, yeah, congratulations to you guys. That's a huge accomplishment, and we're all very proud of what you and Willie have accomplished throughout your guys' career. It's been pretty cool. I want to talk about Stick. Yeah, another horse you lost him a few weeks back there. I don't know as much about Stick as I do about Willie, but why don't you talk about Stick for a bit and what he meant to you guys, and how great of a horse he was.
Oh, he was same thing, another great horse that just kind of, I don't even, I guess he kind of a little bit fell into my hands by accident. I mean, I didn't have a great calf horse by no means. And my uncle, Lyle Cassidy, owned him, and Pat Cassidy. And I got riding him a little bit and kind of won a little bit on him. And I was like, this horse feels like pretty damn good, and kind of purchased him. And then, yeah, then the first couple of years that I owned him, I definitely won some money on him, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't say I just lit the world on fire by no means. But after a couple of years of riding him and kind of him and I clicking a little bit, and it wasn't just him and I. I mean, him and I got some timing together, but then, yeah, it was like Timber Moore and Ren Richard and several other NFR guys started riding him, and that definitely, anytime you can get an NFR guy riding your horse, it definitely helps them, and helps the horse with, because just elevates their game to the next level, and yeah, it was, like I said, it took a couple years, but after getting some good guys riding him, I rode him, and he, yeah, was just turned into a badass horse. Like you don't ever throw a leg over calf horses, hardly ever, that can run as hard as he could run. And
Mhm.
And when you catch them, even though you got 30 feet of rope, when you catch them faster than everybody else, it makes your job just so much easier. It's just a matter of running down there and going through the motions, just like you're in the practice pen. It's not, you're not trying to rush your run or make mistakes that you shouldn't make and hurrying, through your run.
Yeah, it's wild, man. Like, I guess I wanted to ask, like, we get a lot of credit up in Canada about our bucking horses and how ranked they are and stuff, but I think it sometimes get overlooked our horsepower on the time event side when it comes to all the great steer wrestling horses you guys have had. There's Eddie, there's Stick, Peso, all these great horses. What is it about these Canadian time event horses that keep them stacking up against the top horses and top cowboys in the world?
Oh, I mean, it's just, I always compare Alberta to Texas, like
Yeah.
we're everything we do in Alberta is very similar to what they do in Texas. It's like oil, farming, cows,
Yeah.
that pretty much drives
Yeah.
the whole economy.
Yeah.
And I mean, that all fall, there's everything trickles off of that. But I believe that's kind of that's why that we have the great horses, and because of rodeo and ranch kids and everything else, and it all just, it all evolves over time, and bloodlines get better, training and everything else gets better. And yeah, it just, yeah, like that horse Peso of Birds, like that's a badass horse. And
Yeah.
yeah, and it just, and it's, don't get me wrong, there's lots of blood, sweat, and tears and hard work that goes into it, and they don't all make it, but it's a process of elimination and having a lot of horses and going through them and trying to find them great ones. And I know that's what I've done over the years, but going back to Logan again, that's Logan Bird, that's what he goes through a lot of horses too, and has found some great ones because of that, because it's, you have to know what you're looking for and have to start with bloodlines and start with quality, but you also have to, it's a numbers game. There's no question to that.
How good are you at picking out if a horse is going to make it now? You've been around so many great ones and trained so many great ones and just had so many around, but it's got to be second nature for you to figure out quickly if they're going to work out.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I'd say so much picking out a great one, but I can tell you the ones that won't make it.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's the one I know for sure.
Yeah.
The picking out the great ones, it definitely takes some time, and you got to go through a lot of horses before you find them special ones that, that have that little extra grit and everything to be a special horse.
Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure. One thing I thought about this question the other day, and been really wanting to ask you this is, I listed off your accolades, and you've been rodeoing at the highest level for damn near like over 20 years now. What's keeping your competitive juices flowing? I know, I mean, yeah, I know a guy loves to win and be there and be around it, but I mean, you're kind of the same as Willie. You've proven everything you need to prove, but what keeps you going these days?
Oh, I guess I could quit and retire any day, but I'm not crippled or anything, and
Yeah.
I am old, but I'm not crippled. But I'm still in decent shape and whatnot, and then kind of honestly, I thought I would have quit rodeoing hard a long time ago, but then Tyson fell into my hands, and I knew he was I knew he was special and a good horse, and he deserved to go pretty much more than I wanted to go. And I made the NFR like three more times, pretty much because of Tyson, because I just knew that he deserved to go, because he was to me, he was that good of a horse. So it kind of kept me going. But I mean, aside from that, it honestly is like, I love competing and everything, but it's I love the horse aspect of the game too. And when you have a good horse to ride, it makes you feel competitive, and it don't matter if you're 20, 30, or 40. Obviously, as you get older, life changes and you got other things on your mind, but I think that's what does it for me. I mean, I've never wanted to do anything other than, my whole life when I grew up, is rodeo, but
Mhm.
um always having, even when I was young, before I even started rodeo, and the horses and all that stuff was always a big part of me. And I just carried that on into rodeo too, so that, because obviously in rodeo you have to have a good horse to be able to win, and I truly believe that's what keeps me going, is trying to find the next great one and bring more horses along. And it's not just for me. I get just as much enjoyment seeing my buddies win on them as myself. Like, yeah, I've, it's a, it's a feeling of self-gratitude when I can watch somebody else win on something that I've trained and produced, you know.
Hmm.
So it
Well, it's like you kind of meant you kind of touched on it, talking about Willy. Like it's one thing to have a horse or be able to do something for yourself, but having a horse that anybody can win on, that's saying something at the end of the day.
no, it to me it shows that you've done a good job with the horse
Hmm.
when they will work just as good for you as somebody else. Like lots of guys have had good horses, but when somebody else gets on, you know, they're not as good. But when you have a good horse that's good for everybody, that's a to me that's a sign that that is truly a good horse because they're just as good for you as the next guy. And I I tell everybody the same thing about Tyson and about Willie. I was like, they're good for me, but I'm like, I could honestly take them to a high school rodeo and
Hmm.
throw a high school kid on them, and they'd turn around and stand in the box the exact same way for them as they would for me.
Yeah.
And the high school kid, you know, probably doesn't know that much, but them horses know their job, and they would be just as good for them as they would for me.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. That again, like I said, it's kind of a testament to how what makes great horses great, I guess, at the end of the day. Um, okay, so going back over the last couple of years, you missed the CFR in 2023 in the last one in Red Deer, right?
Yes.
You came back 2024 Edmonton. Before we get to 2024, 2023, was that a tough season for you, missing the CFR for the first time in a long time, or was it kind of a up and down kind of thing, or how were you? It's basically how were you able to bounce back after that to come back and have a good year in 2024?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say I was having the greatest year in 23 by no means, but when I went over top of that steer and landed on the wrong side and broke my wrist, that definitely was
That
the end of
doesn't
my
help. Yeah,
season.
that doesn't help. That's fair. That's fair.
So then, yeah, I mean, I was within range of making the finals that year, but I definitely didn't have it made when Strathmore rolled around, and then yeah, when I broke my wrist, it was a write off. And don't get me wrong, it was a struggle last year too. I believe I had $6,000 won after I went to Kennedy, and I won like 1,000 or 1,100 at Kennedy, which is like late July,
Hmm.
and so I had $6,000 won, and it took 19,000 to make the CFR. So,
So you went
yeah,
on a bit of a heater at the end of last year. It's pretty cool.
yeah, like I knew I was getting myself back to the corner, and I had to come with the heat the last, you know, month and a half of the season, and luckily it worked out, and everything went good. But it was, yeah, the first three quarters of the season, I was thinking I probably needed to hang him up because I was like, it was not going good at all. I was just, and I wasn't because of the draw or riding bad horses or anything like that. I just wasn't, I hadn't been winning what I was supposed to win.
Mhm.
And yeah, I was frustrated to say the least, but also been there enough to know that sometimes you got to ride out the highs and the lows and, you just got to work through it and stay focused and, you know, try to get good starts and make good runs every day, but also having confidence really helps to making good runs.
Yeah,
So when
for
you start
sure.
winning a couple checks, you know, and finally get a little confidence and get the ball rolling, then you're able to roll with that and build on it.
Yeah, then you're laughing for sure. Was there a bit of extra motivation last year with the CFR heading back to Edmonton for the 50th year? I know you've had a lot of success up in that city in your
No, I
career.
mean, yeah, I mean, I wanted to definitely compete up there in that new building in Edmonton and all that, and um, yeah, I mean, it wasn't just that. I mean, I wanted to prove it to myself too to get back to the CFR. But yeah, going to that new building and being in Edmonton and everything else, I was definitely excited because it was that's what everybody was asking me when we were doing our check-ins and all that stuff. Like, you've been here a million times. Where's this? Where's that? I'm like, I have no idea. This is my first time here too.
Yeah, that's funny. I never thought of that. That's awesome. But
But yeah, it was cool for sure.
okay, so just backing up to that start of the year when you're struggling and whatever, would you have people questioning you, like being like, "Are you gonna hang it up?" or "What's going on?" or would you ever get those questions these last couple of years?
Oh, I mean, I don't know if I got that question directly, but I think there was roundabout ways, definitely people
Yeah.
thinking that for sure. Yeah.
Was that a little bit of like a bit of motivation in its own way, like being like, "Screw you guys, I still got it." I maybe I'm not even
Well,
I'm not even saying that you're old because you're a young person still, but in like rodeo years, I guess could be considered old at the end of the day, but really
yes,
truly
definitely.
you're not really old.
I think 10 years ago I was the oldest guy at the CFR, so I'm pretty sure I definitely am now.
That's wild. Um, so what was it like being back in Edmonton for that CFR? Like I said, you and your family have had tons of success there, and the 50th year, lots of things going on. And what was it like through your lens? How was Edmonton that being back there?
Oh, Edmonton was good. Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously there's growing pains and stuff that they're going to do better next year, I'm sure. But it was no, it was great having it in a big building like that, and it was. I think it showed not that Red Deer. I mean, Red Deer, the building was packed every night and all that,
Mhm.
but I mean, I think it showed how many rodeo fans there actually is that want to support it because the rodeo was a month earlier than it usually is,
Mhm.
not the old CFR dates, and they basically sold it out damn near every night. So and obviously Red Deer was limited to how many seats they could sell. So yeah, going to Edmonton and being able to sell all the seats and do what they did there, I mean, I think that showed in itself that it was rodeo's alive and well, and everybody's definitely wanting to go to the CFR and support it and everything else. And then of course being in a city that's as big as Edmonton and whatnot,
Yeah.
same thing, just made it that much better.
Yeah, it just elevates it that little bit to make it. I mean, it felt more like Vegas at the end of the day. Like I know we gets compared a lot, and it really at the end of the day is like kind of unfair to compare the
Oh
CFR to
yeah.
Vegas just because obviously different scales, but being in a world class building and having a big city around you and all the people, I think it really kind of was the natural next step for the CFR.
Oh no, it was yeah, it was. I mean, I guess was it like I can't remember the exact year. Was it like 74 or something like that when they started having the CFR?
I
I
think
believe
so. Yeah, I
something like
think
that
so.
in
Yeah,
Edmonton,
that maths out. Yeah.
and then to have it there so many years, and then to leave for a few years to Red Deer, and then go back to Edmonton. I think it was. I mean, I feel like in my own mind that it's in the right place
Hmm.
if we want to grow it and build it and everything else. And I'm not taking anything away from Red Deer. Red Deer did a good job with it for sure, but
Hmm.
it when you back in the box, Edmonton felt like a real rodeo
Hmm.
for
Well,
sure. Like,
that Friday and Saturday night was crazy, man. Like even just the energy comparison, it was like next level.
yes, it was for sure. Like, I can definitely say I've never rode an electric bike to the rodeo, but I did that every night in Edmonton.
Man, you gotta be careful on those. That's how you get the injuries that don't happen at the rodeo.
Yeah, no. I didn't ride it on any ice or anything because it was October, so that probably saved me. But I
I
could
saw
see that things being dangerous on
Oh
ice.
man, I saw all those bull rider kids riding them around. And I swear to God that if they were pushing the limit as far as it could go on those bad boys.
So I could see them definitely doing that, especially after the rodeo.
Yeah, exactly. After a few beers, for sure. Um, you touched on earlier how last year it took 19,000 to make the finals of the CFR or to make the CFR in the steer wrestling. One thing I wanted to ask you is about just how much steer wrestling and the money available and just rodeo in general has changed throughout your career and how it makes it more difficult to make the CFR, but how amazing is it that it's 19,000 is bottom hole to get into the top
Oh, I mean
12?
that's a good thing for sure. Like it's just like the NFR has taken pretty much 100 grand to make it in
Hmm.
steer wrestling now, and I believe the first time I rode it in the States, the first year it was like 45,000 to make the NFR.
Yeah, it's wild.
So I mean, yeah, it's obviously it's not keeping up with inflation, but it's still good to see
Yeah.
rodeo going that way.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say if you drove into a rodeo grounds and seen the rigs that we drive, you would think we were all rich because there's hundred some $1,000 trucks and trailers, but it is not the case. I promise you.
Well, and so that kind of leads into this is like how are you guys keeping up with that? I mean, obviously there's more money available and sponsors help with everything, but like it's got to be tough as on the timed event side of things trying to haul these horses around and get to all these different events all over the country.
Well, every time I cross the border going to the U.S., they ask me what I do for a living, and I'm like, well, I said I'm mostly rodeo, farm ranch, guide outfitter, all this stuff, but I'm like, every once in a while, I'm pretty sure them guys are just being a smart ass at the border asked me if I make any money at it, but I'm like, no, not really. It's just an expensive hobby.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, there's some money to be made here and there and everything else, but at the end of the day, that's pretty much what it is. It's just you do it for the love of the game.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's cool. I want to ask you about the next generation of steer wrestlers in Canada. I know there's guys like Landon Beardsworth coming up, and a bunch of these young guys who are kind of taking that next step. And as you guys kind of pass the torch as the veterans, so what's it mean to you to kind of see the next group coming through?
Oh, I mean, that's why I go over to, like, we practiced here in the summertime, and we go over to Craig Guthrie's and Trigby Pew's and practice over there, and I mean, that's kind of why I do it, because I love rodeo and love the horses, but I love helping young guys and trying to get them, like, take their game to the next level, whether it's a high school kid, amateur kid, trying to get to the pro level, whatever it is. I mean, to me, I'm a team player, always trying to help everybody be as good as they can be, you know? And so, I mean, yeah, it's good to see all these young guys coming up and doing good. Well, I mean, hopefully one of these days before Cody and I get too old, they can start beating us.
That's perfect. I love that. That's amazing. Hell yeah. What's been what's been the biggest change throughout your career you've seen in steer wrestling specifically? I know everything gets faster and things change, technology gets introduced, but what's been the biggest change from the beginning of your career till now? Or innovation even, I guess you could say, or
Well, I think I mean, I mean, everything evolves and gets better over time. There's no question. But I mean, I would say the horsepower is probably what's changed more than anything. There's more good horses now than there ever has been. And I shouldn't say just good horses. Like, there's well-bred horses where back in the day, breeding, I feel like wasn't as big of a deal as it is now. Because the NFR is a great example, because just about every horse there, hazing and steer wrestling side at the NFR last year, was a race horse, running bred quarter horse. Mm. And 20 years ago when I started, or even longer than that, there was maybe, like, you know, in the early 2000s, there's that gunner that Luke won all the world championships on, and like Willy and Jesse of Lee's and Scooter of Jimmy Powers. Like, there was a few horses that were race bred at the NFR in the late 90s, early 2000s, but now every single one of them is race bred, and it shows, because there's not just one or two horses that you need to be on to be dominant. There's several horses there that you can be dominant on, and to me, I think that's the biggest difference in the steer wrestling game.
Yeah, it's kind of, you see it in all the events, in the barrel racing, the tied on rope, and even in the bucking stock too. It's just everything's like better bred, and they compete at a higher level for sure.
Yeah, they're even the bucking stock. They're not just gathering up wildies from out west, you know, yeah, and bucking them like Rex Logan used to do. They're breeding buckers to buckers, and they're producing buckers, you know.
I can't remember if I've asked you this already, or if we've talked. I think we might have talked about this last time I interviewed you. But did you ever compete in any of the rough stock events growing up, or do you have any funny stories from
no. that? I got on a couple steers at home and kind of got dick slammed a couple times and didn't like that very good. And so I was entered at an amateur rodeo. I took my name out of the cow ride and put my name down the calf rope. And I think I was like 14 or something. Yeah. And then I got on a bull at Innisfail that time to win the all around, because Jack had that. You had to get both ends.
Yeah, okay.
It didn't work out good for me though.
Tell me that story again.
How that went. The time events.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Jack would let his bronc riders compete in the wild cow milk and qualify them for the all around. And he'd give away a badass Conway bronze for the all around, which was the bronc rider. But I was like, this is such BS. And so I entered the calf rope and team roping and the bull riding at Innisfail, which cost me, I don't know what the hell my entry fees were, but it was plenty for back then. And yeah, so I wasn't sure if I was even going to get on the bull, but Jack was blowing it up on the radio and everything else. And so I won the steer wrestling, and I think I like placed it around the calf rope and placed in the average. And then I want to go around in the damn team rope too, which was really odd because I don't team rope that good. And so then I was like, damn, now I got to get on this freaking bull because I pretty much got this all round one. Well, then that's the other thing because Jack added more money in the bronc riding. So the bronc riding
Oh,
paid more. So
right.
nobody else could really even win enough to win the all around, you know? But I knew I had it won because I won all that money in all them other events. So then I got on this bull, of course, fell off right away. But yeah, Jack didn't give me a bronc rider all around bronze. He actually called up Contway, had a bull rider bronze made, and it said Cav Rope Stress and Team Roping Bull Riding Innisfail all around on it. And I still remember this day he gave it to me at Calgary by the beer stand where the tent is now, like the committee tent is, and he hands me this big ass bull riding bronze. He's like, "Here, now don't enter the goddamn bull riding again."
Oh man,
And I didn't.
that's such a good story. Well, at least the time you did it, you actually won it because that would be a tragedy if you did all that for nothing.
Oh yeah, no kidding. It would have been no. And like I said, if I wouldn't have won all that money in them other events, there's no way I'd have got on that bull. But I was like, damn, I
You
won all
got
this
it.
money in these other events, and now I gotta get on them.
Who is helping you get on at that?
Oh shoot, there was like Blair Burke. I know was one guy standing there. Chad Pagan, I know was standing there. Brent Wilsey. Schiffner might have been around there. I don't know. You need to get a hold of my sister on Facebook because I know she has the video
Oh,
somewhere.
really? Okay. I'll send her a message
Yeah.
because I'd love to see that video. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing. I want to ask you about the hunting guiding. I know that's kind of a cool thing. You get to go on some cool treks and see some cool shit. But do you have any wild stories from your days guiding hunts?
I was gonna say my rodeo stories are probably more wild than my than my guiding
Yeah,
outfitting,
fair enough. Fair enough.
but no, I mean it's almost like every single day when you're out there guiding and outfitting in the mountains is an adventure, you know, between like catching horses, saddling horses, going riding for the day, and of course you're guiding hunters that don't ride ever, and it's not like you take the most experienced, best horses into the mountains.
No, no.
And yeah, so there is wrecks from time to time, especially water crossings and jumping over logs and this and that. And yeah, but I would say probably every day is an adventure out there is the best way to describe it. Like
Fair enough.
I don't I've never been charged by a grizzly or anything crazy like that, even though some of the other guys have been. But yeah, no, it's just yeah, every single day you just never know what's going to happen out there. It's always something, whether a horse is bucking or the horses run off from camp, or yeah, or you find game everywhere, or you can't find any game, or it's windy, or it's winter, or like last year we went to camp and Matt Late left camp in there for us. So when we got there, it was like 10 o'clock at night, darker than the inside of a cow, and yeah, it has snowed and rained like 3 feet at least, and our tent is as flat as a pancake, and so we had to like get baler twine out and everything imaginable and stitch this tent back together in all the holes and try to try to make this tent good enough for us to survive for the week.
Damn, that's fun. Okay, so you say your rodeo story is a bit more wild. Do you have any story that pops up on the top of your head that you can share with us before I let you go?
Oh, I'm sure there's lots, but now that you put me on the spot,
Oh,
I don't know
no.
if I can think of one off the top of my head.
Okay, well,
I do have
I'll
I
ask you
do
this.
have lots though.
I'll ask you this question. If one pops into your head before we wrap up here, you can tell it. But if not, we'll be all good. But we talk about the next generation or the next people to watch, and obviously you and your brother still do your fair share of winning, which is not surprising. But who would you say is the one to watch in the steer wrestling in Canada coming up the pipeline? Another question to put you on the spot, I guess. But
I was going to say that's a good question. There's a bunch of young guys that are coming up. I don't know if I could pick just one. I mean there's Stephen Culling's obviously been going a while and won a lot, but I mean there's Lannon and Ryan Shuckberg are obviously young guys doing really good, and but I mean there's lots of other guys knocking on the door that haven't made the CFR yet. That are doing good as well. Like I was going to say a couple guys just because I've been practicing with them is like the Guthrie boys and Evan Spady and just a few of them. But I mean, there's same thing. I'm sure there's lots of guys that I'm forgetting about off the top of my head that are good young up and coming guys, but I'd have to do a little more research to give you an exact answer to that.
Yeah, fair enough. Cool, man. Well, so looking at your season coming up for yourself, do you have any big goals set, or is it just going to be the beat goes on, or what's 2025 look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just mostly rodeo up here in Canada, but Evan Spady's got a nice young horse, and I got a young horse that I want to get out to some rodeos, so we're gonna ride them just here and there throughout the summer too. But obviously we'll be riding Tyson too, and yeah, just mostly rodeo in Canada. But I'm still gonna try to go to maybe Reading in the spring and maybe hit Reno in June there, and yeah, I still want to go to a few of them rodeos down south, some of the ones I like and whatnot. But honestly, I have quite a bit of fun rodeoing up here in Canada. It's like a day off because you rodeo on the weekends. Most of the rodeos in Alberta, it's pretty goddamn good.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I mean, there is a decent amount of money to be won up here too. If you can go on a run and put some wins together, you can win quite a bit. One thing I wanted to ask you before I forget too is we just announced today that the tour finale at Armstrong shifting to more of like an actual tour finale, like tournament style.
I've seen that.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think about that? It's kind of exciting to have kind of
No,
more of like
I think that's good. I think that's how the tour finals should be.
Yeah.
In my own opinion, I don't know how the money is or any of that stuff, but no, I mean, I feel like them tour finals should be a tournament style for sure.
Well, it pays pretty damn good. Like I think if you win your round and then you end up winning the finale, the shootout on the last day, the Saturday, you can win like $9,500. So I mean,
Yeah,
between that and merit, a guy can make up some big time ground if you're on the outside looking in heading into CFR.
no, for sure. That's good. I didn't know it paid that good and whatnot, but I mean, that's good to see. Like, I think I know I was on the outside looking in 2018, and I won when they still had that tour finals in Calgary. I won it that year and won like 5,500 or something. And of course, being the last weekend of the season, that was a huge jump and got me into the finals. But yeah, so being able to win double that is even more huge for a last weekend of the year rodeo and everything else.
It's cool to have that. I like that. I like the way that the shift has went with like having. Like, I mean, I feel bad for the September rodeos, I guess, getting shifted to 2025. But I mean, having that final weekend with Armstrong, Merritt, and then Langley for the rough stock guys, but having that and the tour finale kind of centered around as your last chance to get into the top 12 is kind of a cool way to put a cherry on the top of the season.
No, it's a really good way to do it. And then, of course, like we just got done talking about being able to win that much money at Armstrong, that's another thing that throws a big kink into it. So if you can slip into that tour finals, you're mathematically not out of it, even though you could be way back.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's awesome and it's shaping up. And I mean, I guess like even Pinoca's added a bit more money this year. It's gonna be huge up here in 2025. But yeah, man, I think that does it. Unless you've thought of your rank rodeo story for me before I let you go.
I was gonna say I don't think I have one off the top of my head that's worthy of telling on social media.
We'll have to sit around the trailer this summer and do another one of these and shoot the shit a bit more about some stuff. But anyways, congratulations again for Willy. That's awesome, man. We're really excited for you guys, and thanks again for the time, Curtis.
Yeah, no, thanks a lot. I sure appreciate it.
Right on, man. Well, this has been episode 34 of the short round, and we'll be back next time.